Good afternoon, YouTubers. I'm not an expert, and today we're going to look at sharpening my Blackburn Tools saw. So if you look at earlier videos I made about the saw kit, it was a kit, and it came, and it says right in the advertisement or on the website, it has not been sharpened. Now you can see, if you look, the teeth look pretty sharp. They actually feel pretty sharp, but that's just how they were cut at the factory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line on my scrap board here. I figure out how a pencil works. Okay, we'll draw a vertical. And I'm going to show you how it cuts. Now this has never been sharpened in any way. Just whatever the factory did. Okay, I didn't get very far, but you can see, hold that wood up, you can see that that curved a lot. See that? That's because it was all cut from one side. So all the teeth are set. In fact, I can feel that. It's very nice and smooth there, and I can feel a little ridge on the back side, on this side. So it's not correct. So how do we want to go about sharpening this? I'm going to, first stage, I'm going to get out my my little tiny anvil here. And I'm going to get a hammer with a nice smooth face. That's going to be this one. This old hammer. And let's see, which side is the high side? Right side. I think it's, well, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to hit it from this side. I'm just going to go along and tap it down all the way along the teeth. Well, okay, so now it still feels like it might be a little bit on that far side, but I'm gonna put this back in here. Move the camera so you can see what I'm doing. And let's see if that made a big difference. Didn't. Still feels like it's off to me. Oh yeah, still way off. Okay, so I'm gonna try it from the other side. We'll see if smacking it this way will work. I'm gonna re-aim. All right, let's try that. Okay, better, but it also bound up a lot. But you can see that it didn't curve as badly. Maybe you can't see that. It didn't curve as much. So let me put this back, and we'll do some more. Hitting from the high side, see if I can't. I'm going to have to get out a sharpening stone. In a minute, I'll probably have to get out a sharpening stone and maybe knock that edge off. Or maybe I won't. I don't know. Let's see what I'm going to do next. Okay, still a little bit of a curve, but much straighter. Well, it's about the same as the last one. So I think what I'm going to have to do is sit down with a saw set and really get into this and actually set the teeth, which requires a lot of focus. All right, off camera, I went and did the setting. Here's the saw. Let's talk a quick minute about how I went about it. I did it off camera because you guys make me nervous. I was just going to make a mess. So as you can see, the teeth are very small. These are 15 teeth per inch. And it's hard to tell, but they're mostly alternating. I took a Sharpie much smaller one than this. And I actually went through and marked every other tooth, and then went on the other side and marked every other tooth. Then I took a saw set. This is a Stanley 42X. And what it has is a hammer and an anvil. And you squeeze it with the saw blade. Line it to the saw blade in there like that. Right? So it touches there. And when you squeeze that, the big round bar comes out and grabs the blade. And as you squeeze further, the little hammer, that little piece in the center, extends all the way out up against this piece, which is the anvil. The anvil can be adjusted up and down so that you get the right, see how it's bent? You see that bevel on the anvil? All right, so you want the amount of bevel that gets into play to be the right size for your teeth. You got great big teeth, you would lower this way down. And for small teeth, it's way up. It's near the top. Okay, that's a 42X. I could have used this, which I believe is a 42W, I think. Made in USA. And I can't read it. Never can. Anyway, you guys can tell me. You can look it up. So this one has an eccentric wheel that moves the anvil, or the anvil up and down, and the hammer comes out. Gets it. But this one doesn't grab the blade. This is a blade thickness adjuster to keep the blade up against that anvil. That's kind of a neat one. This one's a modern one. You can get these on Amazon or various woodworking things, and I believe it's a copy of an older design by either Stanley or Distant or someone. And it has the double action, so where it squeezes and then the hammer comes out. I'm not sure you can quite get that here, but there you go. See the hammer coming out? That one will work on smaller saws. This is a Distant. This one has a double action, but the two handles move separately. So this handle is the blade grabber, and this handle moves the hammer. And this one has a fairly large hammer on it, so before big hand saws or maybe even larger saws. And then this piece here, these wings, that's the depth adjuster. Adjusts how it sits on the blade. This is a, I had it in my mind a minute ago. I believe it's Tantor. It's a positive number 7. It's made out of sheet metal, and it just has a single action. Oh, it does have a double action. Yeah, it has a double action. So here's the anvil. Here rotates around, so you have all the different angles for really setting up for different size teeth, different number of teeth per inch. You squeeze that. This one, I don't know what model this is. It doesn't have readable markings, but it is for a much larger tooth. It has a big, and this is kind of a bevel shaped, so it's sort of tooth shaped. You would do various adjustments. And similarly, it's my last one. This one is cast aluminum, and it's also for a little bit larger saw blade. That would probably be appropriate for regular hand saws. It's got kind of a big, like for rip saws. Well, got a little house paint on it. Oops. Anyway, so I went through and I set the teeth, half of them that away and half of them this away. And let's draw a line on here and see what kind of results we have. Grab my thing. Not exactly precision, but it'll work. Around here. Okay, it's still pulling a tiny bit. Can you see that? Let's pull it out. You can see it. Still pulling just a tiny bit off. That's hard to see. That's pretty much on the line. It veered a little at the bottom. Makes a nice, fine kerf. The backside came out pretty clean. It doesn't have a lot of set to it. I took a lot of set out. So what I had to do was, it was curving off to the other side. So I took a This is a 1000 grit diamond plate, and that's how you trim it back down. You just take it and just run it over that edge, and that'll file the teeth down a little bit. It's going to curve towards whichever teeth are sticking out the most. So if it's set too far to one side, if it's set too far to the right, it'll start to curve to the right. If it's set too far to the left, it'll start to curve to the left as those teeth cut more aggressively. You could use a little sandpaper or just a sharpening stone to center it a little bit. All right, well, there it is. That's the Blackburn Saw Kit after you get done with it. I guess the question is, at that point, is it a better deal than this Veritas saw, which is ready to go right out of the box? Well, it sure looks cooler, right? I think it looks cooler. Brass back, homemade handle, kind of traditional, little space aged. There's other choices, but if you're willing to the patience to wait for Blackburn, it took me 10 months to get this blade. I'm not sure that's a great deal, but it was a fun project. All right, well, that's all I got for now. We'll catch you later.